Hi everyone, I'm back for another episode of Let's Talk About It with Journey Amundson. Journey, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me, Sydney. I love chatting with you. I cannot wait to talk about it.
I love that. Okay, we talk about it. Let's talk about it. So Journey, I'm so excited to talk with you today. I feel like you literally are the queen of how to hustle. Like you literally created an Instagram reel about that. And I just want to talk to you about something a little bit deeper than just
Yeah.
because I think it's so easy for athletes to learn how to hustle or how to level up. Like just in general in our society, we're always being told that we need to go do the next thing. And I am a victim of doing that. And I'm also probably someone who tells people to go do that all of the time. But I also get burnt out like a lot. Can you talk a little bit about
Yes.
what burnout is? I know you do research in sports mental health, and I want to hear from you.
Yes. Yes. So burnout happens to everyone. It can happen whether you're an athlete or not, but it's really common in athletes because we are constantly under the pressure of bettering ourselves and adding things to our plate from a very young age,
Yeah,
especially with all of youth sports now. You're expected to be on a high school team and a club team and get extra supplemental things and be getting reps in on the weekends and all of these things. But all of this can lead to your brain being completely overwhelmed with what you're doing until you are unable to function. You've
yeah,
taken on too much onto your plate, and you're not able to put things away as fast as they're piling up. And it can feel like that in the season, right? You come on to preseason and maybe things are getting crazier and crazier as you're going towards your conference championship. And I like to think about we don't need to keep adding more and more and more to get better and better and better. We can be at a maintenance level, and that is where the growth really happens.
that is so true. That's something that I think so many people go through. And that's something I've kind of been working towards right now is realizing that not everything has to be optimized. Like,
Yeah. I'm
no,
sick of optimizing, please.
no, like
Just let me be.
yeah, like I'm a total perfectionist, but starting to realize and almost accept that like not everything's going to be perfect. And so I'm kind of like, okay, what are the things that I actually need to optimize and make sure are perfect all the time? And what are the things that I can kind of get away with if they're not exactly perfect?
And with that, I just want to say really quick, if it's okay,
No, yeah.
that we also don't have to like even use if we can use different phrases of getting away with it as in prioritizing. So that can be like sitting down, thinking about, okay, what are the things that are important in my life and even ranking them ish. I know that can be really hard for some people and thinking about what are the things that I want to give my all to this week and what are the things I can deprioritize. So that's a really helpful trick for me too.
When you're talking about social media, it kind of makes me think of this new TikTok trend when all like when TikTok was shutting down in the beginning of the year and all these TikTokers and like former YouTubers were coming out
No
and
truth.
sharing like the behind the scenes of their lives,
Yeah.
right? And specifically Aspen Ovard, who I've been watching since I was like in middle school,
Same.
she came out and said, "Oh, all of those morning routines and day in the lives were fake."
Mm-hmm. I know.
What do you mean you weren't waking up at 6 a.m., working out, eating the healthiest breakfast, like drinking a smoothie, walking the dog, going to six
Yeah.
meetings, going to school, working out again, and then going to bed? Like,
They
man,
didn't even go to school. They were all homeschooled.
I planned my whole like life and self view based off what they were doing. Like, I genuine like,
It's so easy to do that all of the time. Even my content's not real sometimes. Like
yeah,
my day in the lives are like clips from different days. And
yeah,
it's so hard to remember that social media is fake
yeah,
when you are consuming constantly.
yeah,
And remembering that like some people are like bulk taking videos and then
yeah.
posting later. I'm like, how are you making this video every single day? I'm like, I cannot do that. I have to put the phone away.
No, that's so true. I think a huge part of what leads to burnout is this kind of like hamster in a wheel, like trying to get to a goal. And sometimes that goal might be unrealistic.
Sometimes I like plan out my week and I look at my Google Calendar and say, okay, hang on, this is beautiful and colorful, but where am I eating lunch? And where am I going to take a break?
Yeah.
And so sometimes planning those in actually is so important
Yeah.
because you're so right. All these goals take time, and without the balance, you are going to fall off the hamster wheel.
I know we're not exactly talking about burnout right now. We're talking about goal setting, but I really do think that for athletes, like the burnout really is like part of the goal process.
Yeah, and okay, here's my favorite. This is in sports psychology, 101 that I've learned with my sports psychologist. I always have 4 goals I'm thinking about, and I learned this for athletics, applied to athletics, but you can apply it to anywhere in your life, but you always want to have 4 goals at a time. You want to have an outcome goal, a competitive goal, process goal, and an intention. So your outcome goal is, as a track athlete, I want to sprint this time, or maybe that's the amount of kills you want to have in volleyball. That's like a number. Your competitive goal is wanting to win. That's important. We gotta put that on there. Our
Yeah.
goal should be to win or to make the next meet, to make it to the playoffs. But then it's so important to have the process and the intention goals. So the process goal is something you can do in the weight room. It's saying, I'm going to even go to practice 5 times this week. It's a process that you know you can hit, and it's something that you know is not dependent on other people. It's something that you can accomplish in your process. And then finally, the intention is how you're going about this day, whether that's, I'm going to be open-minded, I'm going to have a good mindset, I'm going to be a good teammate today. So having those 4 goals on your plate, that's what's also going to help you be less burnt out and keep those promises to yourself.
So I just want to share kind of what we actually mean by burnout. I'll do a personal example. This is just kind of like the base template of how my burnout always works. It goes from, I absolutely love this thing, I want to be so much better at it, I want to just do this all the time, to I actually don't think I want to go that day, to I actually don't think I like this at all. And then it kind of just goes to everything. And then I just avoid. Like, I have an avoidant personality. If it seems like something I don't think I'm going to be able to do or succeed at or whatever, like I just start to avoid it. And that's when I know I'm burnt out. And then like you said earlier, I just go through a period where I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to do anything this week until I miss it. And
Yep.
then I get that love back and it kind of
Yeah.
starts all over. And it can be a week cycle or like 6 months, but that's kind of what it looks like for me.
Yeah. And I just want to normalize that, like, there are kind of 3 different big ways of burnout that we see. So, like, what you're talking about is like that cyclical burnout
Yeah.
where you have crazy big goals and then you can't do anything. And then you miss it and you have crazy big goals and you can't do anything. Some people experience burnout kind of like a slide where they start with those big goals and the next week they're like, okay, I'm only going to go hit for like 50 minutes. And then it's like, okay, like I really want to go watch my show tonight. Like, I'll just do 30 minutes today. And slowly it gets down and down and down until they realize they're not doing anything and they're just like at this slump plateau.
Huh.
That's normal too. And then the way I experienced burnout for the first time this past year was I was doing so well. I had added so many things to my plate. I had so many big goals. And every single week I was up at 7 a.m., getting everything done, turn my laptop off at 9 p.m., go to sleep. And then up the next day, I felt like I was on this wheel. I couldn't stop until one day my alarm went off at 7 a.m. and I couldn't get out of bed. And
Yeah.
it hit me like a wall. And it was like the hardest thing I've had to go through. I had to call people and be like, I'm not coming to this meeting. I just couldn't do it. And I realized I needed to make changes
Mhm.
in how I live my week to week, my day to day life, so I didn't experience that wall again.
Mhm.
So all 3 types of those burnouts are totally normal, and possible to come back from, whether, you're an athlete or not.
For a lot of people, their burnout is their sport. It's not, oh, I have this extra club meeting or other things that they're doing. It's literally their sport. What advice would you give to someone who's getting burnt out from their sport?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, a couple ideas. Um, First is by finding a trusted person in your life, whether that's a professional, if your school offers sports psychology or counseling or talking to a friend. And that is just the number one place to start always. Feeding other parts of what you love, other parts of your personality, other parts of your identity. So whether that's, for me, I love to read and I love spending time with my family. And so, like, making intentional time to do something that's not track related at all, where I can remember all of the other things I love. And then when I come back to the track, I can remember why I'm there. But also having those conversations with yourself about, like, why am I here? That was really tough for me. When I was burnt out of track my senior year of college, I had to take a step back and go cry in my bed and take out my journal and be like, why am I doing this again? And after, some journaling with nice music, I found my why.
Mhm.
And so remembering that also can be a really helpful thing.
That's such a good point because I do think for so many college athletes, their why for a really long time is because I want to play in college.
Yeah.
And then you get to college and you're like, "Oh,
Why am I here?
why
What
am
am
I
I doing?
doing when you're playing at such a competitive level, you're practicing so often, like, the whole point of, like, because I love the game sometimes seems it doesn't seem so real and relatable. Because you can love the game and you can play club or play when you're home for fun, right? Like, there's always a little bit of a deeper why, I feel like, for college sports to make it worth it. Like, you do have to love it, but there's
Yeah.
always a little bit of an extra competitive edge sometimes that makes all of the running and all of the early mornings and all the travel
Mhm.
with it.
And the
So
last thing I want to normalize too is that maybe some weeks your why is because you're on scholarship.
that
Maybe some weeks your why is because your parents expect you to keep playing. Or because all of your friends are on the team and you have no friends off the team. And those whys are normal. And it's okay to have those weeks, those days, those months where you're struggling with your sport and that's your why. And if it gets to a thing where like every single month that's your why, then maybe you need to have a bigger conversation with yourself. But those feelings are normal.
Wow, that's gonna be a quote. That's gonna be a
Yeah.
mini quote. That was gagged me. That
Yeah.
was so you're so right.
Also, quitting is normal. Like there
Mhm,
are people who are on both sides of the spectrum. You can hate it one day, love it the next, and you can decide also my priorities are different now. So
mhm.
those things are all difficult and totally stigmatized. Like I think my friends on my team, like my teammates, I wouldn't be not expect them to ever say, I don't want to be here. I'm only here because of the money. I think that'd be a big no-no, but
Yeah.
those are normal feelings.
I love what you said about that too, because I feel like I look back at times when I was on a team and just thinking like, "Oh, this person isn't actually here or isn't committed," or different things, and, like, I just feel like it's part of maturity in college athletics and the more experiences you go through to realize that everyone's end goal isn't gonna be the same on a team.
I kind of forget that all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like needed to hear that. Wow.
yeah, like, the same way that things kind of cycle for you,
Mhm.
like, they're cycling for your teammates, and
Yeah.
trying to give that grace. Like, there were moments where I was like, "I really just wanna win Ivy
Yeah.
League this year. Like, I really need this from you guys," and, like, what do you like, our root team goal is discipline and winning and competitiveness, like, why aren't you guys able to give that right now? Or why are you acting against that right now? And realizing that there is that burnout and stuff. But I also do think there's like a other side of the coin as a teammate.
I feel like part of that has to be, you know, trying to find a way to be honest with others and then dig deep and especially I don't play a team sport. So, I don't know if this is relatable. But part of your why probably is and should be I want to do this for my team.
Yeah.
And being honest about that, also when your teammate is struggling, you see that and you're like, I'm here for you. I care about you as a person so much. But also I care about this team. So let's
Mhm.
figure this out together. Like, let's make our why together for this team, even if you really do not want to go to practice right now.
I did a whole series, a couple months ago talking about mental health, and one of the big topics was how do coaches create a competitive atmosphere while navigating mental health? And people might not like this. Like, as an athlete, like, how do you navigate communicating your mental health to your coach, handling your mental health and handling your struggles while also allowing your coach to still do their job?
And that's like a weird line where you are like, I don't know, we're all really lucky where if you are on a college team, then you have advocates for you
Right.
and confidants. So, like, utilizing your trainer, like, they can be such an awesome person to, like, be an advocate for you, but also, like, get your butt back in the game. Yeah, finding people like that to help you out and find that line of, like, what's appropriate right
Yeah.
now.
I think that's, like, one of the best ways and honestly why I promote The Zone and, like, why
Yeah.
I've partnered with them is because it's true, like, what we just said, like, it is really, really hard as a coach to navigate mental health and still your job is to be competitive.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard as an athlete. No athlete wants to say, "Hey, I'm going through something. Like, I really couldn't care less about winning this game today. Like, I'm going through something else." You can't say that. And as a
Mm.
coach, like, like there's just so much. This was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Journey.
Thanks for having me, Sydney. Really appreciate you.
Hey guys, it's Sydney. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk About It. If you did, make sure to leave a review and send it to a friend. Let's keep this conversation going. I'll see you guys next week.